good morning to everyone. Word of warning, I'm Italian in my background, so I tended to speak with my hands, and you are going to miss a little bit of my presentation today because you can see only my face, but sometimes you may see my hands coming up. It's just the way we do in Italy. So they say, if tie the end of an Italian, you won't be able to give a talk any longer. Anyway, I spend quite a good amount of my years in Africa. So I am also having a bit of Kenyan, Nigerian personality because I lived there for more than 18 years, involved in running youth centers and a parish, and part of my experience of involving young people and recruiting them to volunteer comes also from that experience. But when Elka asked me to talk about recruitment of volunteering, I was thinking, is there anything that I can share that is different from what we can see, listen, read in resources around how to recruit volunteers? And I can always then add the question and answer, deal with that. And I thought, what is special about us and the way we work with our volunteers, where I can tap into our traditions? And I thought, I think looking at volunteering and recruitment of volunteers from the perspective of our faith, probably something that I've not heard often talking about, but I think is crucial. And I say so because the vast majority of the volunteers that come to CAFOD through me in CAFOD, the primary motivation to volunteer is about their faith, is a way of answering a call they feel of God. And I think sometimes we may miss about this, and we may then miss the fact that actually our volunteering opportunities are somehow a way to help people to develop their faith, to build the kingdom of God, and to be better Christian. But I would like to start from the beginning, and I would like to read a piece of the Gospel from Mark, the chapter 12. Now, I hope you are not going to call me an heretic, because I'm going to change a little bit the words here and there of the Gospel, but I just want to make a point. So a teacher of the law was there who heard the discussion of Jesus. He saw that Jesus had given the Sadducees a good answer, so he came to him with the question, which commandment is the most important of all? And Jesus replied, the most important one is this. Listen, Israel, the Lord our God is the only Lord. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second most important commandment is this, volunteer. There is no other commandment more important than these two. Strange, isn't it? Putting the word volunteer instead of love your neighbor. But if you think about, in the context of our faith, what volunteering is, for people that come from a parish and they want to help, or people that go in a Catholic school, or just people that want to do something at the bank, helping people in need, is in nothing else than the desire to love their neighbor that comes from the call that God gives to all of us, that we hear over and over again in the church preached and is all embedded in our Bible and in our Catholic tradition. So if we go back to the Bible, you will see it's full of people volunteering. All the people that serve God are just volunteering, from the prophets to Jesus, to the disciples following Jesus. Jesus' ministry would not have been possible without all the rich, wealthy women following Jesus and the disciples, volunteering and putting their resources in support of Jesus' ministry. St. Paul moving and visiting communities. The beginning of the community, when we are in the Easter period of time, and we are talking about all the people in the community putting their gift together and going to visit the elderly and the sick, the first deacons. And then you can move towards the century, where volunteering takes then even a specific way of forms of religion. The first monks, they were doing it for free to help other people. Where are not these ways of volunteering that we have changed the name in our contest, but basically volunteering for us is a way to love our neighbor, the second commandment that Jesus has given us. I personally experience myself in my personal life how this opportunity to do good transform your personal life. My desire to go to the mission was prompted by the fact that the priest in the youth center I was going when I was a child decided to go as a missionary to Bolivia. And this figure of this priest for me was like a second father, and left me a seed of desire to do something for people somewhere else where the need is. And so when it came to me the opportunity, I took to the mission too. And in Africa, where I spend most of my time, I saw how offering opportunity of volunteering to young people as a transformational experience for them. So young people, I was having a youth center where we were running having around 2,000 children every day. And I was running it myself with the youth that volunteer, I didn't call them volunteering, were helping me basically to take care of all the activity that were going on. And I can assure you, to keep busy 2,000 children every day, there is a lot of going on. And as these young people were growing with me, I was offering them opportunity to grow also themselves. So when they were reaching a certain age, I start to send them to the nearby juvenile remand home. So on a rotation every Sunday, a group of 4 of them was going to the juvenile home to organize for the children over there a kind of activities. You know, these were most of the children in the remand home in Nigeria. They were children that lost parents, so were without parents. Basically, they have not done any crime. They were just picked from the street and put in that place. But naturally, they were behind the bars. So my youth were going there to do animation activities to help them. Then I started to send them to we were having also leprosy nearby. So visiting the lepers, taking them some food, stay with them, listening. They were doing some help to some other people in need, but at the same time, they were growing as adults, as a mature Christian. And what I noticed in this experience was that the motivation for what they were doing was becoming more and more solid. These were people that were building their backbone to be then an agent of change in the society where they're living. And I have these young people now across the world. Some of them travels. They try to get in touch with me through Facebook. I don't have a Facebook. I discovered that there is a Fulvio Ornato in Facebook that is living in Italy. And I got in touch and he told me, oh, you know, I know about you. You were in Africa, isn't it? And he said, yes. How do you know me? And he told me, because a lot of young people have tried to get in touch with me thinking that it was you, and it was not you, it was me. So interesting. But anyway, so, and how I was working with these young people, well, for me, it was a mission. I guess you may have already understood what is my background. I'm a Roman Catholic priest. I was a member of a religious congregation called the Salesians of St. John Bosco. And then on the way, I decided to stop, and I got permission from Rome to get married in the church. So now I have a family in the UK. But as a priest, this was my way of building the community. And the starting point was listening to these people coming in front of me. Each individual person that was coming in front of me was someone, a gift of God sent to me to take care of the community. And so my first recommendation when we work with volunteers and we think about recruiting volunteers is look at the person that comes in front of you, not as somebody you can exploit a skill to do something, but as a gift of God that is coming with the talent. And your mission as a volunteer manager is to unpack this talent. Some people comes with a full package ready to go and be sent to do a task. Some other people come with a talent that is not yet unpacked. And it's up to you. And this is the responsibility that we get from God as volunteer managers is how can we unpack the gift that this person has from God for the benefit of the community where the person is placed, to enable the person to shine, and at the same time to take care of the needs that we have through volunteering for the communities and the places where volunteers is deployed. It's not easy. Sometimes it challenges you because you may have an idea to go left and you may stop and say, actually, maybe we need to go right. And I give you an example of this. Again, I bring example of my life, not to say I was good about this, but just because this is what I did and it's my experience. When I was in Nigeria, and the youth came to me and say, Father, we know somebody in the television station, and they allow us to use 31-hour broadcasting time if we want. We just need to pay. I say, television program, are we all nuts? Think about also the environment we were in Nigeria, where we did not have all the technology surrounding us that we have in the UK. There was not yet internet even at the time. But I say, well, let us think about it. So I brought together this group of youth. Some of them were 30 university students, so people that were having some kind of brain behind. For 6 months, we work out what could be the program about, what could be the plot, devising the schemes. I didn't say no. I just said, let us see where we can go about this. And it became evident that there was ideas, there was energy around it. There was need of money that I could find and figure out how to get them through friends in Italy. And we started the program. 6 months later, we were having every week a television program of 1 hour. It was a mixture of panorama, if I can give an idea of what is it in the UK, panorama and educative aiming to young people. It became very famous very quickly, at the point that the people in town were calling us with the name of the program, that was Sabenko. And that was the beginning of a Yoruba proverb, si abeniko, that is, if you hit on the top of the nail with your hand, with your fist, the head of a nail, you hurt yourself. But the proverb meaning is to tell the truth is painful, but the truth sets you free. And that was the connection to the Gospel of St. John. So we were taking care of doing sessions talking about problems, local problems in the society, inviting guest speakers, and then helping, basically doing a work of evangelization and education to the community in the place where we were. I would never thought about this. I listen. I try to figure out if this was coming from God. So the first recommendation is listen. The second one is build a relationship. The more people connect to you as a friend, the more they stick to you. And the more you have an opportunity to take and guide them through a journey that is a journey of equality. In a good friendship relationship, there is no master-servant. We are working as equal. We work together. And that, I think, is something that sometimes we miss. In fact, to call ourselves volunteer manager is terrible, because it implies already a structure in our society that is completely alienating what is the idea of volunteering within our faith base. We should, but the best way I could put it is the figure of Jesus, the Good Shepherd. That is the one, Christ the King, Jesus King figures that we have in mind. It's not a king that sends people in the front line as Russia is doing with their soldiers to die themselves and to kill other people. Is Jesus in front, guiding and leading people. And I think we should think about ourselves as a good shepherds that are working alongside other people, facilitating their skill, but try to implement and do what really God is inspiring and asking us to do. And you cannot do this as a manager. You do this as if you build a friendship, a relationship, and you see the person in front of you as an equal, where the person can challenge you, or where you can talk to the person and you think of the person, you pray for your volunteers because they are your friends and you care for them. The moment people see that there is this attitude toward them, they stick to you for life. And that is where you unleash the energy and power. People will go much more further on the journey with you because of this. So you start to work well then for not just the recruitment, but for the retention of the volunteer journey you're thinking about. So the other bit is because you listen and you are a friend and you have seen, see where the energy of the people coming in front of you are. One of the questions that I ask to people that want to volunteer in the interview is always, tell me what is it that you don't like to do? And the reason why I ask this question is because I want to understand where is the interest and energy is, and what is it exactly the opposite of people struggle with. Because if I know that you don't like to write a letter, and I give you as a role writing letters, this volunteer won't stay very long with me, and probably won't find his talent being placed in the right place. If I instead understand that your desire is sending social media messages on Twitter, for example, if I make you involved in developing a Twitter program of communication, you will excel there. You will deliver for me more than what I need even. And it will allow also your gift to help me direct the direction of where I want to go with my program of work. So, and this I would wrap up very quickly because I think I've already gone through over my time. I can see the smirk in the face of Elka, so she will complain later to me. So, just very practically, because we're talking about recruitment, but I have not yet to say a clue about recruiting volunteers. So where do I see recruiting volunteer works very, very well? Well, the primary way I found of working well in the Catholic community, recruiting volunteers naturally has been face-to-face, word of mouth, going to a church, talking, giving a talk, and asking people at the end and meeting them. That works always very, very well. We visit a church, we got 5, 6, 7 people signing up. So that is one way. Another way we get volunteers at CAFOD quite often is through the website. So make it clear in your website and signpost very easily. There is an opportunity and make it very clear, very short, very clear. This is our need. Particularly the younger generation, don't tell anymore what you want them to do. Just tell them what you need. People will come up also with clever ideas how to do it. We get normally around 10 people offering to volunteers every week to come. So your website is a good way to go about. A place that sometimes we don't think about is, there is a proverb in Nigeria that say, don't look in Sokoto, that is a city, what you have in your Shokoto. The Yoruba language is tonal, so the same word, Sokoto and Shokoto, means two things. So don't look in Sokoto, the town, what you have in your pocket, the Shokoto. And the point of this proverb is we sometimes forget that we have a golden mine of potential volunteers that we don't tap into in our donors. I've been testing CAFOD with our regular donors that have been with us for more than 4 or 5 years. that give regularly to ask them if they want to donate in specific area where I need volunteers. So for us, for example, is volunteers in parishes. And we have the luck to know also which one of these donors are in that parish, because through the gift aid envelope, we know they signposted and fill the envelope during the first day collection. So we have found that asking them to volunteer has two very, very important things. The first one, strengthen donor fatigue. So if a donor, after a cycle of 6 to 8 years, tends to stop regular giving, is at the stage where he's thinking about moving and stopping, asking to volunteer help the person to, and there is a research sitting behind what I'm saying with books that explain this. But anyway, increase the donor retention. So from the point of view of fundraising, you give a longer lifetime value to this donor by asking to volunteer. The other bit is the donor feel value, not just because of the money, but because who the person is. And the end of the journey is many of these people say, yes, I'm happy to volunteer. So I don't know in your database how many thousands donors you have, but this is a mine that if you start to tap in, potentially you can get hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. And based on what you know about these donors, you can, and so talk to your fundraising team, because there they have an opportunity. It's a win-win. It's not that by getting a volunteer, you are taking the donor away from the giving donor. You are actually helping them to expand the lifetime value of that donor. Other area where we have been recruiting volunteers that we notice work, if you're looking for younger volunteers, go for social media adverts. So Facebook, Twitter, or just on Google, you get but that you get a younger donation. So I was looking, for example, and I tested, I was looking for coordinators, volunteers that could manage a group of volunteers and support them. And I didn't get even one, but I got a lot of young people say, I want to volunteer. So different tools get, and the other one that I use when I need instead technical expertise, like people with a specific set of skill, is do it for good. Or if you have an account and you want to invest some money because you have to pay the Guardian. Guardian is also a good way. So I know charities with HR sometimes use the Guardian. I go straight to do it for good. In the past it was called Just Do It. Has generated a number of people that were with a set of skill. What I tended to miss from people coming from the channel is the Catholic element of it, that for us sometimes is important, because people that come from the Catholic community comes with what I said at the beginning, the motivations that move them to do it. And for me, that is sometimes even more important than the set of skill, because I have a person that I know, understand the environment we are going to place the person, and is committed already from the outset because of this. Well, yes, there are. First of all, in Nigeria, we were not calling it volunteering. They were helping, and it was part of the. We in Nigeria, we were working with a large population of young people. You know, very easily, I got a youth center with 2,000 children coming every day, and the school system is not as standardized and sometimes as well established as we have in the UK. So the opportunity to upskill them in a way that was different from what they were getting from the school was something also that the young people find it useful. So for them, for example, learning how to do video editing because they were helping with the television program was an interest, because they wanted to learn the things they knew was a driving force. So something that probably in the UK you will find a little bit more hard, because young people have much more opportunity available at their hands. So The other bit that was faith was an important part of the life of people in the community in Nigeria. So when people were having a problem, even a problem that has nothing to do with the faith, the first thing they were doing, coming to the priest to ask for advice. So I was finding myself going to study medicine because I was getting people coming to ask me advice on health. And naturally, I was not the physician taking care of them, but I needed to know where to refer to them. So understanding a little bit if the problem was a mental problem, an health problem. So for example, malaria, that is a vicious disease that can kill people in the span of days if you get the wrong form, sometimes manifest with mental problem. So the person behave manically as if has lost his mind or her mind, but actually his malaria attack has gone to the brain. And you needed to understand very quickly that is the case because is the difference from life and death. If you don't get your chloroquine in your system very quickly, and if people start to give you antidepressant, for example, the end line is just the grave. And and this is the sad bit of being a priest in an environment of a mission, because we were where the community was poor. Is I started with a field that was empty, and when I left it after 18 years, was full of graveyard, not of elderly people, but young people. I lost in my harm a number of people. I still have tears in my eyes when I think about for just silly things in the UK would have never happened. It happened just because the health system over there was not good and people were not able to realize that this person was having sometimes it's, oh, we gave him a wrong bag of blood that was no more good, or transfusion wise, or the medicine had expired, or the medicine was water. Because unfortunately, we were in an environment where the cheapest medicine were not having the ingredient that were supposed to have. And sometimes even something like a paracetamol was having chalk instead of being having paracetamol. But this is the suffering of the poor in a context of mission. People were buying rice that was mixed with polystyrene. So they were doing a fake rice made of plastic mixed with a good rice. Can you believe what happened to your body when you eat those stuff? So so volunteering coming back was a massive opportunity by giving them an opportunity to understand. For me was, first of all, educating the faith. Helping your neighbor builds a community. We are in a context where our community is suffering. By giving you opportunity to volunteer, by sending you out there, I'm basically teaching you how to take care of your community that will build later on. And this is a massive step forward. So I was putting foundation. And young people were understanding this because the experience of helping, the experience you give it to people when you do something good to somebody else, there is something that happened to you in your heart. You are more happy at the end of it. There is something that you cannot buy. We know how much money of the world you can use. Happiness is something very strange. It does not come with money. It's fake. We think it comes with money, wealth, and power, but it never comes. It comes when we do the little things of good to other people. And there is no way to teach this than experience it. And this is what I saw happening to the people around me. They were more committed. They were more, and they were starting to think about their skills, how to use them, and that the skills were developing. I saw people really transforming themselves from being very, very close to think about just I need this, I need that, to actually being very, very generous and starting to think about actually I don't need anymore. And I give you an example very practically. At the end of so we were doing an holiday camp, taking care of the children for a full month, every day, morning and evening on the summertime of the holiday of the school. And at the end of it, I was always saving from donation that I was getting from overseas, little bit of money to entertain the youth that every day worked by teaching to the children, by giving them food, by entertaining them, by organizing the day. I was just overseeing, but all the games and activity, and 8 hours with the children is very, very intense when you have so many. So I was saving a little bit of money. But the first year I took them for an outing, and I sponsored the transportation and something that was not happening very often. So it was really something important for them. After 1 or 2 years, as I saw them growing, I started to say, look, the youth center needed this ceiling fan. The cost of buying the ceiling fan and setting them up, and the cost of your outing is. You are telling me that when you watch a film in the hall is very hot. Up to you. Do you want to buy the ceiling fan, or do you want to do? What do you want to do? If I would ask this question the first time they started to help, they would say, oh, well, let us go for the outing, we can wait. The question that came without even hesitation was, let us put the ceiling fan, it's good for us and all the people that come to watch the film. And then you start to see that automatically the same people are the ones that are going to do helping in the church, sorting out the benches before the mass, clearing the grass. When is there any season, the grass is your enemy in Nigeria, because there is an elephant grass that goes up to 2 meters, and as the base big like this, is a menace. Really, the tractor that was cutting, the blade breaks so hard, and people have to cut. So the punishment that is given to young people in the school when they misbehave in the school, state school, is cutting grass. So if they do something bad, they call it a cutlass, a blade like this, and they cut the grass for 15 minutes. So it's the worst thing you can ask anybody to do. So when I see my young people without asking them, and I was cutting the grass for the youth center, the football field and all, so that the youth and the children could play. When you start to see young people coming with a cutlass and cutting the grass without asking, you say, he has got it. He has got it. From this point on, this person is an adult Christian. He has done his confirmation, if I want to put it in the. And I knew this person in his life would be generous, and wherever he would be doing good to people. We developed a bakery project that is run by my youth with donation. But the reason of this bakery project was to train young people to get a job in life. The person that is employed, the young people that this youth of mine is employed, is people that she want to upskill, that need help. But some of the bread that is produced is donated out to the community. So you see how the seed that you sow, and through this activity then is exponentially grows up. And the other bit that is very interesting, once you start this cycle, it's like a snowball. You roll down faster and faster and faster, and it gets easier. Once you break the first initial rolling movement, it goes down very quickly. So it gets easier as it goes. And that is another important thing to consider, because you will see that in any setup you build a volunteering program, if you build it with this foundation, it will be working well, better and better. So my other recommendation always build the things in such a way that the volunteers you recruit today, tomorrow will be taking care of the center, allowing you to the breathing space to be more strategic, and let them recruit other volunteers and move on and do this.